I don't know if I'm going to take up the whole hour or not, but if you have any questions at all throughout my presentation, feel free to raise your hand. I will answer any questions that you have. Okay, so my first question is, who here speaks a second language at home? No. Nope.
JFK.
JFK. That's it? Okay. Kalimera, good morning. Ohayo gozaimasu. That is the order in which I learn languages. So what's the first one? Kalimera. Greek. You guys know what it is. It's Greek. Well, that too. The second one was obviously English, and the third one, Japanese. As you probably all know, I'm the Japanese teacher. I grew up in a bilingual household. I grew up speaking Greek first. Both of my parents are from Greece. Literally, we're from northern Greece, up in the mountains. So, small village, small town. It's between a village and a town. People don't move there. It's really just generation to generation, just kind of stay there. And I've been going there since I was 11. Growing up in Sterling Heights, Michigan, we literally were the only family in the neighborhood who spoke another language. Not only did we speak another language, my parents had accents. Sorry, I'm like literally reading off of this because I'm kind of nervous and I want to be prepared. My parents had accents and we ate strange food. Plus, we're a family of 8 kids. I have 6 brothers and a sister. Anybody have a big family in here? So you feel me, you get it. Who here has ever seen the movie My Big Fat Greek Wedding? It's very international, right? I love it. The first one's better than the second one, I think. Yeah. But that literally is my life, except for the pillars and the flags outside the house. And I understand the plastic on furniture. I see that in Greece, not so much here. You know the part where she says she's eating moussaka and they tease her and say mouskaka? Yeah. I dealt with stuff like that. That's my life. We ate Greek food all the time. To us, it was normal. Honestly, I didn't know what a crock pot was until I was like in college, because my mother cooked everything at home. But to my friends, my life was different. So let me just make clear. Oh, let me also add the Windex part of the movie. You know where you use Windex for everything? I don't get it. It could have been like her, Nia Vardalos' family, but I never understood that. So in talking about my life, it was quite nonconformist. We lived a different life. Although we celebrate American holidays, we had our own holidays that didn't coincide with the holidays on the calendar, such as Easter. I don't know if you're aware, but Greek Orthodox, we go by the old calendar. So this year, my Easter was that Sunday before we came back from break. When all my friends went up north for the summer, I went to Greece. That was my up north. I know a lot of my friends are like, oh, you went to Greece. Yeah, it's nice, but you went up north. Like, who here hasn't up north? Or goes up with their family? You see, I'm jealous of that. So now that I look back on it, my life was not conformist at all. We didn't conform to American lifestyle. My parents raised us the way they were raised and taught us what they knew, while keeping the culture and language alive in all of us. While my friends got together and played after school, guess where I went? Any guesses?
Greece.
Greek school, during the school year. I went to Greek school. So it was like school after school, basically. I went to a church twice a week and learned to read and write Greek. Yeah, I hated it. The teacher was mean, but now I appreciate it more than ever. Today, I love and appreciate that I grew up bilingual. Do you appreciate it, Jordan? I hope so. I can speak Greek and English fluently. I can understand many things just from knowing Greek alone. So all the phobias, a lot of math terms, any word that comes from Greek, like octagon, polyglot, like in the movie. Give me a word, any word, I'll tell you the Greek origin. And I love how he uses the word kimono. For those of you who feel like the odd kid because you speak another language, I did. You're not odd, it's amazing talent, and you should be proud that you speak another language. For those of you who are learning a world language now, who's in a language class? Keep it up. Knowing a world language is such an asset to have, and you never know in a future, in a job, if you travel overseas, if you'll ever need it. I can't tell you how many times I've gone to Greece and I already look like a foreigner. Let me tell you why. Can anybody guess why I look like a foreigner when I'm in Greece? How can they tell? What? My dress is different. The way I dress is different from Greece. People would ask me a lot off the street, like, how do you get here? How do you get there? And because I've been, well, mainly in the northern part of Greece, I know how to get places. But the second I speak, obviously I don't speak like a Greek. I have an accent. So they kind of give me this look like, wait a second. But once they see that I can communicate and I'm fine, they're cool with it. It's cool. It's a fun feeling. So I guarantee if you go anywhere and you speak the language of that country, that people will appreciate it. Who's going to France this year? Anyone going to France? Going to France? JFK, you're going to Japan. Germany is a German trip this year. Who's going to Germany? Use it. Use it. You're going to love it. So let's talk about Japan now. Who thinks Japan is a conformist society? Raise your hand if you think it's a conformist society. Who thinks they're a non-conformist society? Who doesn't know? Okay, that's fine. Okay, well, technically, those of you that chose conformist and non-conformist, you're both right. Let's discuss Japan versus the rest of the world. Let me talk about a few things. Fashion, electronics, samurai beliefs, keeping the wa in the society, education, and food. Fashion. They definitely have their own sense of fashion. They don't go all crazy for Abercrombie and Polo and Vera Bradley like Americans do. And even in Europe, I've been all over Europe, and they also have the same kind of stores we do. They have a completely different sense of fashion. They do have popular American clothes in Japan, but their fashion is different. So let's talk about a few. The first fashion I want to show you are called Lolita. And this is just like the variety. I'm not going to show you all of them, but has anybody ever heard of Lolita or seen a Lolita? So you know what I'm talking about. They're very poofy and very intricately detailed outfits, which, might I add, are not cheap. You've got your Sailor Moon Lolita. Kind of looks like a sailor, right? It reminds me of the school uniforms. You've got your country Lolita. I mean, do you guys think these are cute? Ayami doesn't think they're cute. You think they're cute, Jessica?
Ayami wears every day.
No. The punk Lolita. The wa. So wa is like the Japanese Lolita. This is like, you got your kimono, which is traditionally Japanese. Then you got like the skirt and the puffy. And I think it's kind of cute. I mean, I would never wear it, but. And the classic Lolita. I mean, they wear like heels and platforms, and they dress up. Ayami, how much would you say these are?
What?
How much? Jumayen? The show? Yeah, they're like $1,000-some for these outfits. Gothic Lolita. Anyone feeling the Gothic Lolita? You feeling it, GK? You feeling it? Okay. So those are just. We're starting off with Lolitas. Now, I'm going to move on to Kogyaru. Kogyaru, this was bigger in Japan when I lived there in the early 2000s. Kogyaru. Well, let me explain them to you.
Oh man.
What do you see with Kogyaru?
White girl.
Did someone say the hair?
Looks like that.
Yeah, so Japanese have they have black hair, right? And it's coarse hair. So for them to dye their hair to begin with, it's not easy. It's not an easy process. They have to bleach the hair. And even then it comes out kind of coppery. Makeup, the heavy makeup. They like their short skirts. They like their platform shoes. Platform. And they're fake nails.
80s white girls.
80s white girls, the fake tan. Yeah. You can spot them a mile away. This was a thing at one point. I'm going to back up here. Ayami, don't say anything because I know you know the answer to this. Anybody know what this is?
A road we found.
What is it, JFK? Oh, yeah.
It's a market.
A market. Have you guys heard of Harajuku?
Oh,
This is literally Harajuku. It is a street. But you see how crowded it is? You have people of all walks of life here. I mean, we go there. When When I go there, I take my students just so they can experience it. And you've got people dressing up in all kinds of costumes. You've got your Lolitas still, you've got your Codiatas, you've got your, hey, sometimes the furries come out. I see a furry sometimes once or twice. This is the time for you to be who you want to be. And people love Harajuku. They have some interesting stores in the street. So, would you have pictured Harajuku like just a street? No? Yes? What?
I go here once a month.
Once a month you go there, Ayami? Ayami's our Japanese exchange student. What do you do there, Ayami? Do you just shop?
Yeah.
That's it? And eat a crepe? For some reason, the crepes in Harajuku are the best. So, it is a street with a variety of Japanese stores that have all kinds of fashion. But I repeat, it's only a street. So literally, you go down the street and come back. If you cross the street, they have more expensive stores. And then on the other side of the street that you have Omotesando, which is like a rich neighborhood, and they got like the Gucci type stores there. Gucci. Who here has heard of the Meiji Jingu, or the Meiji Restoration in history class?
Yeah.
That's at the Harajuku stop. That's across the street over there. So it is a popular area, not just for Harajuku, but also for the Meiji Restoration. Oh, there's more Coke yet. Oh, and the loose socks. These socks, I used to have a pair in my room. They're like this long. So you put them up, and they put this sock glue so they stay like mid-thigh, and so they don't go down. They just kind of scrunch them. You don't see this so much anymore, but this was huge when I was living in Japan. So again, Kogyaru, they're loose socks, they're blondish hair.
Oh no.
So here's some more Harajuku fashion. Some things you might see walking down Harajuku. Do you guys think it's cute?
No.
I mean, if anything, I think her outfit's kind of cute. This one here. And the Japanese love their peace sign, by the way.
That's fun.
Some more Harajuku.
Oh, the one in the middle looks terrifying.
Oh god.
Yeah.
It's like,
Is he taking a note?
Okay, this is Harajuku Bridge, or sometimes they call it the Harajuku Cosplay Bridge. On Sundays, people go there and they like to dress up and show off their outfits. You've got Elvis impersonators, you've got a girl with a band-aid on her nose. I don't know what's going on here.
World War II.
Is this like Alice Cooper? I don't know. I just don't know. But they like to dress up and act, they like get into character. They like to act out these characters on the bridge. This is only on Sundays. Nijobi de show?
I don't know.
I think it's only on Sundays because we can never go when we go to Japan, but Sundays on the bridge. It's time to dress up. If anyone ever finds themselves there, it's quite interesting. I did one time when I lived in Japan, I saw a guy in just a pickle outfit. He was a pickle. I don't know. I think they do it for the shock factor. I was a bit shocked. Okay, so now this is your typical Japanese clothing, Japanese outfits. Let's just look at a couple. Okay, between these three, what do you see that's common in the pictures when it comes to the fashion? Who said jacket?
JFK.
Yes. The Japanese are all about dressing up and having a jacket or a blazer or something over it. So that's one thing that's pretty consistent with the Japanese. They always have something over them. Little side note, in Japan it gets very hot and humid. And they still wear the jackets, but also women, when they drive, if they don't have a jacket on, they wear these gloves up to their elbow. Why do you think they do that? So they don't get sunburned, they don't get tanned. Because in Asia, I'm pretty sure it's all over Asia, they like the white. They like to be like as pale and porcelain color as possible. It's the patterns. The patterns just don't always necessarily match. But I don't know why, I just think it's just cute because it's just quintessential. To me, it's quintessential Japan. Okay, so let's step away from fashion and go into technology. When you think of Japan, do you think they are all advanced in their technology? Do you think everyone in Japan is all about technology? If you think so, raise your hand. That's a perception a lot of people have about Japan. So, talking about schools, here in Clarkston, how many computer labs do we have? 4-ish, and then we've got like Chrome carts and stuff like that, right? They don't have that in Japan, in the schools. Kids normally have the computers at home, but they don't have the access to technology. This what you're looking at is what a Japanese school, for the most part, looks like. Does your school look like this, Ayami?
Yeah.
It's very different from Clarkston, isn't it? It's even very different from the junior high. The setup's very different, but it's very... Let me put it to you this way. In the bathrooms, they only have cold running water. They don't have hot, so it's only cold. No. The Japanese are known to always, who asked me that question? Yeah, no, that's a good question. They are known to carry towels with them, like little handkerchief-sized towels. Yeah. Well, do you have blow dryers in your bathrooms?
No.
So you carry a towel with you. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, good question though. And in the classrooms, oh, there's Clarkson. Just to show you a comparison between the two. Like, boom! Japan, America! This is a Japanese classroom, a typical Japanese classroom. Let's compare it to what we have here. What do you see? Chalkboards. I hate when people used to run their nails on chalkboards. It drives me nuts. Look at the seating. The seating is also it's old. You know, we complain about what we have here, but honestly, in some ways, we should be happy for what we have. Yes, Abby?
Are the Japanese schools funded by the Japanese government, or are they privately owned?
By the government. These are public schools. They're funded by the government. So in America, we're supported by our state government. In Japan, you're supported by the government of Japan.
Government of Japan.
Yeah. So funding is very different.
Really?
Very different. Sometimes you'll see new schools being built, usually private schools, but very seldom. You don't see it too often. So, talking about electronics. They may not have it K through 12, but after that, when you get into college and when you get into the real world, there's an area of Japan called Akihabara, which is called Electric Town. And they have all kinds of electronics. I mean, look at this. This to me looks like New York City. The big signs, the big lights, it's all showy. This is not only Electric Town, it's also known as the anime capital. It is. Not only can you find any and all anime manga, there are all kinds of electronics available here. You've got Pepper. I saw Pepper actually in our hotel, I want to say in Narita. We may see her this year when we go. She greets you in front of the restaurant, and she'll talk to you. So Japan is really big into technology outside of the school. Have you guys ever seen robots in America in your restaurants? No. So I'm gonna add in some fun facts on the side. So here's a fun fact of Japan. Did you know that 99% of Japan is literate? That means just 1% is illiterate. To me, that's pretty amazing. I don't even know what the percentage really is in America, but what is it? What? 14% illiterate? Yeah, pretty sad. Kaiten sushi, this is like a revolving sushi in Japan. Everything you order is through that little tablet. You can punch in your order, and what they do is this top tier, they have this little sheet that looks like a train right here. it kind of hovers by your table until you take the sushi or your order off of it. Like, if that's not technology, I don't know what is. I love this. It's all about convenience in Japan.
Oh no.
So electronics again, and again, you've got the anime stuff, you've got all kinds. Japanese tend to use electronic dictionaries. You've got all sorts of them there. Rice cookers, TVs, MP3s, iPods, headphones, I mean, everything, anything you need, they have variations, like a plethora of them available there. We're gonna get to samurai in a second. So, moving on to history and how it still lives in society today. And I think this is nonconformist because I don't think we in America really live our lives today based on beliefs back in history for us. Where in Japan, a lot of it you see today goes back to the samurai way of life. Some of the things that I've seen in Japan, well, here's one thing. When you guys are at a crosswalk and it's a red light tells you not to cross, who here actually crosses if the road is clear? Which is typical, right? In Japan, nobody crosses. Everybody waits until it's like the sign is like a walking person. You wait until that comes up, and it even has like a bird sound. It's like beep, 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 and it tells you to walk. And that's when everybody crosses the street. Nobody goes against the grain.
What if you get that rubber, will you get like your ass?
What?
Will you get beat up?
You will not get beat up, but you just get looked upon. So, this goes back to the samurai days. I was a samurai for like 5 minutes.
I have your picture.
You have a picture of them?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sam's up.
So, it was pretty awesome. Let's talk about pressures. From a young age, pressure is put on Japanese people. I'm talking even students from elementary to junior high to high school to adulthood. They strive and they work hard to get into a prestigious junior high. And from there, even more so, they strive even more so to get into a prestigious high school. In Japan, you have to take an entrance exam to get into a high school. So it's not decided. You guys, when you're in the junior high, it's already been decided. You're coming to Clarkson High School, right? In Japan, you take a test for whatever high school you want to go into. So this high school here might specialize in exchange programs. And so you want to take that test. Or this one might deal with engineering and science, so you take that test for that high school. Students sometimes have to take a train, a bus, ride their bike for an hour to get to their high school. So it doesn't necessarily mean that if you live in Clarkson, Michigan, that you're going to go to Clarkson High School. You can be going to Oxford, Lake Orion, Rochester. I mean, it's all in whatever high school you want to test into and can get into as well. So the pressure is so intense sometimes. Let me give you an example. When a company, and let's just take a company like Macy's or Arvan, big companies, you know, those multi-million-dollar type companies, when it fails or goes bankrupt, whose shoulders does that fall on? The big boss, the CEO.
Jumps off the roof.
And if it fails somehow and goes bankrupt, it's the CEO, in which they tend to end their lives. Again, this goes back to the samurai life. You guys have learned about samurai, right? And how if they brought shame upon the clan or upon the people, seppuku, it's the same concept. It's very stressful because the pressure that is put on you from a young age to adulthood, and it's something that I've never been a fan of at all, and it makes me very sad. It's a very sad part of the Japanese society. As an outsider, I still cannot understand it. So the Japanese are all about the wa. The wa is a cultural concept usually translated as harmony. It implies a peaceful unity and conformity within a social group in which members prefer the continuation of a harmonious community over their personal interests. Does this sound like America at all? We kind of do our own thing, don't we? We don't worry about everybody else. We kind of do our own thing. It is considered integral to Japanese society and derives from traditional Japanese family values. Individuals who break the ideal of wa to further their own purposes are brought in line either overtly or covertly by reprimands from a superior or by their family or colleagues' disapproval. Japanese businesses encourage wa in the workplace, with employees typically given a career for life in order to foster a strong association with their colleagues and firm. Rewards and bonuses are usually given to groups rather than individuals, further enforcing the concept of group unity. So when you're hired into a Japanese company, you become a part of that family, is how they take it. And this includes teachers. Mrs. Rogers, they give bonuses to teachers in Japan. Wouldn't that be nice?
I was in Japan 2 summers ago, and my blonde hair and how I was bigger than most of the women, they were so respectful.
Yeah.
I was actually afraid I was offending them. Like, the trains were packed,
Yeah.
and I would sit down, and because they were so respectful to not stare, no one would sit down. My husband took to like teasingly calling me like the white devil. They must know about you, but they wanted to be, and I didn't smell, I swear, I didn't smell bad, I showered, I was good.
Yeah.
It was so respectful, and every single one of them, no eye contact with me at all. And
Yeah.
I wanted to understand that it was just them being polite, but I was sad that no one would even like engage with me.
Yeah.
So I would not fit it in Japan very well.
When I take students to Japan, they have no choice but to sit with us, especially when the trains are crowded. So talking about this stress and pressure, let's move over to education. They have compulsory education like we do. I thought I had my education pictures up there. Like we do, and so they got K6, 7, 9, and then 10 through 12. So let's talk about their 9th grade year in junior high. They study hard to prepare themselves for the entrance exam of the high school they choose to go to. It's a tough year. I think I would compare it to like an SAT, ACT, but you want to study hard because they don't take every single person that takes the test. They take the first however many of that class that they can take. You have to, so it is not uncommon to see a teenager with gray hair. In Japan, I taught, for a couple years, I taught junior high and elementary school. And because of the level of the stress, I saw a lot of my junior high kids with gray hair because of the pressures that they are put under to do well and to get into a good high school and to study hard for the high school. Oh, and in Japan, you can't color your hair. You can't color your hair, you can't pierce your ears, you can't wear what you want, you can't get a perm, you can't I mean, who would like that? So you basically, it's all about the we, like we're all the same, we have to all be the same. And you can't be an individual in that aspect. Do you like that about America, Ayami? About Michigan, that you can do what you want with your hair and your makeup? You can't do makeup either in Japan. Okay, fun fact. Mount Fuji is very much alive. It's just dormant. Did you guys know that? And people climb it. I climbed it. Just, it concerns me because one day it may explode. Okay, so moving on to food. So, did you know McDonald's and Starbucks are huge in Japan? I think they're pretty much huge everywhere, but let's talk about McDonald's first. They mostly have what we have, but they add their own flavor to it. So let's look at some pictures here. Grand Teriyaki Burger. Sounds Japanese, right? Sounds like a Japanese flavor. Does it sound good to anybody? Yeah? You guys try anything, right? Okay, it's good because you can eat that in Japan. Shrimp fillet. How does that sound? Sound good, Sean? I mean, I don't eat meat. This actually sounds pretty interesting to me. Who said they would eat it? Love it. Yes. Oh, also when you go to Japan and you ask for ketchup, they literally give you just a little saucer and put the ketchup in, like 2 pumps of ketchup. Barely enough. Egg and cheeseburger. It's like brunch. It's like a combination between an Egg McMuffin and a hamburger. Do you like this? Who would eat this? Would you eat it?
It still looks good.
Okay. Have you had this, Ayani? Was it good? Okay, Burger King a couple years ago had this black burger. The bun was black. I tried finding out what made it black. I thought it was squid, but I could be wrong. Oh, charcoal powder, really? I don't know, but it was big. It was big for a minute in Burger King in Japan. Okay. So, Starbucks, which is pretty much all over the world. Italy even just got Starbucks. Italy was holding out for the longest time, not wanting Starbucks to enter their country, but they finally accepted it. Well, in Japan, they have their own spin on it. For starters, they have a flavor of the month. So all the girls will go to Starbucks just to try the new flavors of the month. This is huge, and they love it, and it's a great, I think it's cool to like change it up every month. Now, when you guys go to Starbucks and you take pictures, do you do selfies all the time? You put them on Instagram or on Facebook? Or when you go out and about, you guys take pictures? I think Americans tend to do a lot of selfies, right? In Japan, it's big for them to take pictures of their drinks or food and put it on Instagram, where, as opposed to us doing the selfies. In Japan, it's more about the product and not the person. So this, I love this. This is like old meets new. Oh, and the flavors like that, sakura, cherry blossom, which is a huge flavor right now because the cherry blossoms are out. So yeah, so there you go. There's a picture, someone taking a picture just of their Starbucks. What do you think the green is in here? Matcha, which they got some amazing matcha drinks. Who drinks matcha in here? Not many people. I love matcha. You like matcha? I love matcha. Okay, this is Subway. Same concept. They were allowed to come into Japan, but they made it their own. So shrimp and avocado sub.
That sounds so good.
Does it sound good? Yeah? Now, does it sound good just because it's Subway? Or does it really just sound good? It just sounds good. Okay. An herb sausage. It's like a hot dog in a Subway sub. Okay. All right, so let's step away from Japan, the nonconformist society, and let's talk about Japan as a conformist society within itself. Oh, fun fact time. 99% of cell phones sold in Japan are waterproof because youth like to use them while showering. You know, in Japan, they like their hot tubs too, the onsen, the hot baths. So they like to take them in there. So waterproof is a good thing, I guess, in Japan. Okay.
And you can't turn off the shutter sound.
So here are some things that I want to talk about Japanese being conformist among itself. Keeping tradition alive, education. And have you guys heard the saying, the nail that sticks up gets hammered down? Anybody, can you get an idea of what it means? Okay. So, let's go back to the way of the samurai and how I still see it in their life today. I have lived in Japan. I did 1 year in college and then 2 years after college teaching English, and I take students. So these are things that I have noticed firsthand. In Japan, okay, we talked about the crosswalk. Escalator. What's going on in this picture? Well, in the pictures, they're all standing on one side. So what's the other side for? People that want to walk. Have you guys ever like been in an escalator, like in a mall or at the airport, and you're trying to walk past somebody, but they're like standing there? Yeah. You have to like go around them. The Japanese, anywhere you go, I read that like Tokyo stands on one side, they walk on the other, but in Osaka they stand on the other side and walk on the other. Nonetheless, they still stay on one side and they walk on the other. This is to give respect to other people who need to get where they're going. This to me makes complete sense. but not to us. Yes, Autumn? Oh, I don't think that's relevant at all. I just tried to find some pictures where you can see. Maybe they're together? I don't know.
Oh, one lady.
Okay. Okay, so I've never really been on a bus in Michigan. Well, maybe to Chicago when I chaperoned the Chicago trip. But if you think of a bus in America, do you think it's going to be quiet? Or subways in New York, are they quiet? In Japan, no one talks on the train. Nobody wants to disturb anybody else. It is quiet. I remember one time when I was living there, when I was teaching English, my friends and I were speaking, and we were speaking that loudly, or we didn't think we were, and someone told us to hush because we were being loud. So it's rude. No one on the buses or the trains or the subways talks. Okay, fun fact. In Japan, black cats are seen as good luck charms or omens of good luck.
That's wrong. A black cat broke my phone.
Okay, education. Let's talk about education. Japanese schools, from way up north in Hokkaido to way down south in Okinawa. Public schools, I'm talking, are going to be the same no matter where you go. For starters, the building itself is, to me, it's pre-World War II. They're very old. Structurally, they're fine, but they don't do the upkeep like we do. Like here, we're getting furniture, right? The junior high's getting furniture next year. We're going to get it the year after that. They don't do these kinds of upkeeps. They just keep using what they have. So as you know, we have a sister school in Japan. They come here every March. You guys have probably seen them or knew somebody who was hosting a Japanese student. The only time that I saw Chiba Higashi, at least, reinforce anything or fix anything in the school was after the tsunami in 2011. They reinforced the windows with like metal bars like going an X, somehow to stabilize the windows in the building from shaking anymore. Did your school do anything, Ayami, after the tsunami?
No.
何もしなかった? So that's the only time that I saw Chiba put money into, I don't want to say safe-proof for earthquakes because you can't really safe-proof it, but just trying to help it from reinforcing it to be more tolerable for earthquakes because you just never know when they're going to hit in Japan. All right, you guys, you ready for this? What are they doing? They're cleaning. In Japan, they clean their own schools. Elementary, junior high, and high school. They clean their own schools. Anybody like this concept?
It gets rid of the need of
It gets rid of what?
janitors. You lose jobs.
They still have someone that comes in, but if the job was never there in the first place, you're not really losing anything, right?
Right.
Now, what does this teach them? What? What? Who said that? Responsibility. What else? Yes. Yeah. They clean up after themselves. Yeah. What else? Jill.
Like to be respectful.
Respectful to the environment that you have to live in. Anything else? What about like just working together? It's all about working together. Again, it's that harmony. It's keeping that harmony within the school, within your classroom. You guys know what this is?
Food.
Yeah, it's food.
They eat lunch in the classroom. K9,
kindergarten through 9th grade, they all eat the same lunch. So, the district will have a main kitchen where all this food is made. And you're gonna get big pots delivered to your classroom. And you set it up in front of the room. So you always have, you've got your rice. There's always either rice or bread. Soup, you might have fish or meat. You've always got your milk. Sometimes they have frozen like tangerines and fruit. But this Kyushoku is elementary and junior high. It is healthy. There is no food wasted. Ayami, what happens if somebody can't finish eating their rice?
We have to, like, finish it.
They have to finish it
Yeah.
because it's mottainai. You don't waste. Waste not, want not. Or they give it to somebody to eat. Yes.
What if you have allergies?
So that's not as common in Japan as it is here. But when I was living there, I did see some kids who brought their own food in. But allergies are rare in Japan that compared to here. Do you see that in your school, Yam? Have you ever seen people with allergies?
例えば、なんかアレルギーがあったら、その子専用の給食が来るんです。
Oh, 特別な給食?
特別な
Oh, or sometimes the school might make them their own special meal, lunch, without whatever they're allergic to. Like I myself, I don't eat meat. So if they had a day where they had like, I don't know, chicken or meat or something, I would just have a little extra rice or a little extra miso soup. That's how I did it, but allergy wa mezurashii Nihon de wa, America yori. Yeah, the allergies are not as common to hear about in Japan as they are here. How would you guys like this? Or maybe not in the high school, but elementary and junior high. What would you think about just eating the same thing? Yeah. Would you like it? It's actually quite delicious. And it's so healthy and it's a balanced meal. You always have your protein, you always have your carbs, you always have your milk, you always have your vegetables. It's a really good meal. So, what do we see here? Small kids. What grade? What school? Elementary. Typical. Why do you think their hats are yellow? It's so bright. Do you want to take a guess? The grades, okay. Anyone else?
So people can see them.
Probably so people can see them. It is bright. Here, what's going on here? Okay, my students, you guys know this. Yes, you do. In Japan, you know crime in Japan is like a point something percent. It is so low in Japan. Kids will walk the neighborhood, they will walk down the street, and kids will just come out of their house and like little ducklings behind the leader, and they'll go to school together. Just walk in a row to school. Kids have so much responsibility put on them at a young age. From first grade, would you say, Ayami? First grade? Walk to, not kindergarten though. First grade. And they stay in their lane. They don't play around and goof around and get in front of the cars. Usually in a very straight line. They've got their hats on, they've got their, they've got these backpacks. It's amazing to see. Nobody talks to these kids, nobody bothers these kids, and they can walk safely and not have any issues going to school. This to me shows Japan's doing a lot of things right. Let's talk about, okay, junior high uniforms. This is totally a junior high uniform. What do they remind you of anything? Like a sailor, maybe like a Navy kind of an outfit? They say that these were actually modeled after the German army uniforms, military uniforms. This is very much junior high. What material do you think they're made of? Silk? Not silk. Any other guesses?
Wood.
Polyester. Polyester is very hot, especially in the summertime. And you have like your summer outfit, your summer uniform, and you have your winter uniform. There's only 2 uniforms. You cannot wear any more or any less than what you're allowed to wear. They'll get mad at you if you wear anything more or less than this. So they do get quite hot. And there's no air conditioning in Japanese schools, by the way. Yeah, or heat. So it's tough. So this is more of a high school uniform. Your winter style, you've got the blazer, you have your, well in this case, they have their ties. Here, it's just without the blazer and their short sleeve. Under the blazer, it's a long sleeve shirt. And there's a date where you switch over from one uniform to the other. Each school, the patterns of the skirts are gonna be different. So I'm sure Ayami, if you're on the train, you could probably tell what school they go to by the skirts, right? And the shoes are always loafers. You have to wear loafers. Well, he's a rebel, but the girls wear loafers. Well, the boys wear loafers too. Do you guys know what they do in Japan when they walk into school? Don't you guys say anything because you guys know. You guys know. What, Autumn? Yeah, and put what on? They put on Japanese slippers, wabaki. They have their own special slippers. In each class, sophomore, junior, seniors have a different color, so you can tell what grade they're in by the color of their wabaki. Do you guys like uniforms? Do you like the idea of uniforms? No? Yeah? Do you like it, Ayami? No? I like the idea of uniforms, or maybe some kind of, like a standard, only because it shows conformity. It shows that nobody can show off anything, and we're all in the same boat. We're all here as students. To me, like, I like the idea of uniforms, or something along these lines. You guys know what these are? Books? They're textbooks, yeah. So textbooks are created by the government. The Japanese government creates the curriculum for public schools in Japan. That means everyone teaches the same thing and uses the same books. So for English, when I was living in Japan and taught English, they had a book, I think it was Horizon. And they talked about aliens and spaceships. I don't know how or why. As an English speaker, a lot of us were not feeling it, but there's no way around it. You have to teach from the book they give you. There's a requirement that they set, and you have to hit that requirement. So there's not much leeway for teachers. What do you notice about the books?
So
Small. What else?
color. Light.
The outside is color, but the inside is not. What else do you notice about them? They're all paperback. Who here has hardcover books? I think pretty much every class, like the books, like math, science, history, languages.
Our workbook is soft.
Spanish, they're hardcover too in Spanish, right?
Our Japanese workbook is soft.
Our workbooks are softcover, but the textbooks are not. And they're thin. These are thin books, where I've seen some of those science books and math books and history books. Those things are thick. When you reach high school, that's when you have to start paying for your textbooks. So I was talking to Ayami about this last night, and she said she paid $500 for 1 year for her textbooks. So how many textbooks was it, Ayami?
A lot.
A lot?
Yeah.
More than 6?
More than 6. We have 13.
13?
And then each of classes we have 2 or 3.
So 2 or 3 textbooks for one class. It's a lot of money. You guys, we should appreciate that we could borrow these textbooks instead of having to pay for them. So again, conformity within Japan. This is all public schools in Japan. All right, fun fact. In Japan, it is acceptable to take a nap during work. Inemuri shows that you have been working hard. I like to call it a Japanese cat nap. So, as I finish this talk on Japan, I want to say it's okay to be nonconformist. It's okay to be conformist. I love Japan for who they are as a people. Oh, there they are, Inemuri, right at their desk. They have an old history which lends to their modern day life, and I hope you guys learned something today about Japan and the culture. Any questions?
What's that sign in the bottom right?
Nothing but a human eye. No crawling? It looks like no crawling. Hey, thank you, Sam, for pointing that out. Okay, thank you, everyone.